Mira a la izquierda. Mira a la derecha. ¿Qué ves? In a world that seems to change daily, what will you do next? Welcome to The Next Step Show with Peter Vasquez, a starting point for discussion y un poco de direction.
Just a little more time is all we're asking for. 'Cause just a little more time could open closing doors. Just a little uncertainty can bring it down.
Bienvenidos, soy yo, your conservative Nuyorican, Peter Vasquez, aquí mimito in the WISR studios, and guess what? In vivo. Hey, Bob, wasn't that a great song, Never Surrender?
Yeah. Oh, the 80s. I remember the hair.
Oh, man. You know, I asked you to play that song.
Probably you don't, though, Peter. No, I'm sorry. I shouldn't have said it in my out loud voice.
Good music. Hey, pump it up a little bit. You know, that song right there is our guest's favorite song. And the cool thing, it truly does define how she has made it through life. She says, not going to happen against all odds. Bob, I'm live on your radio station. What did you do?
What did I do? I don't know. We're going to find out by the end of this hour.
I guess we will. So, today's guest, without any further ado, today's guest, right, check it out. She carries a conviction that every child merits the opportunity to flourish. As a steadfast family law attorney boasting 2 decades, that's right, 2 decades of experience, she has cultivated a reputation of patience, compassion, and an unwavering commitment to assisting families through the most challenging moments. And guess what? That patience is really evident because she tolerates me every single day, almost for the last 20 years. Our guest endeavors to ensure that every encounter in the family court system is acknowledged by knowledgeable attorneys or judges, I should say, timeliness, and marked by respect. Friends, listeners, join me today as I welcome the light of my life, my angel. Yeah, you can look at me sideways. She hates when I say that. My angel, the Honorable Kristine Demo-Vazquez, candidate for Monroe County Family Court Judge. Bienvenida al Next Step Show, mi esposa. ¿Cómo estás?
Hello. Thanks for having me on again today.
I love introducing you. You know that?
I mean, know you do.
I'm like, what a better person to introduce. And I could actually say and mean everything that I say. Not that I don't mean it when I introduce others.
You are a little biased.
Yeah, a little bit biased.
Oozing sincerity, ladies and gentlemen.
We are. So, Chris, the first live show. You're my first guest on the live show.
I am very excited to be the first guest on your live show.
Absolutely. I thought you were going to say you're very excited to be my wife. But, hey, you know what? First guest on the live show works, too.
I mean, we'll take what we can get at this point.
Hey. Anywho, so you're running for family court judge.
I am, and the election is tomorrow. So if you haven't early voted, get out there and vote.
Yeah, early voted ended yesterday at 5 o'clock.
Yeah, tomorrow voting is from 6 a.m. to 9 p.m.
And if somebody needs to know where they can go vote, what do they do?
They can look at the Board of Elections website,
or
reach out, and we'll try to find your voting location for you.
You can go to WHEC.com, too. They got a very nice little display there. It has the hours and locations and all
that. That was WHEC? That's at Channel 10?
Yeah, Channel 10. WHEC.com.
Ladies and gentlemen, you must vote. I don't care of what political persuasion you're with, but especially if you are one that is a Republican or a conservative, or check it out, if you simply just care about our country, our nation, and our state, if you realize that in America, we the people control, right? We control the government because we have the power of the vote. Don't lose it. Don't squander it. Vote tomorrow, November 7th. Vote tomorrow, November 7th, between 6 and 9. Go to the websites that we just mentioned so you can know where to vote and vote. So,
I just want to add in there that a lot of people say, well, this isn't an important election, but this is the local elections. And so these are the most important elections that there are. The people, these are the positions that are most effective to the people that they represent. And so whether it's family court, whether it's county ledge, there's a lot of positions that are up for re-election this year, and they're very important positions.
Absolutely. And ladies and gentlemen, remember, this is the Next Step Show. We are live, and you can call us. I want to hear from you. I want your comments. 346-3000. Give us a call. So, Chris, you have been in the show a couple of times. I know that our listeners are always excited to hear you. But for those that haven't, why don't you tell us a little bit about who Kristine Demo-Vazquez is, where you came from, all that good stuff.
Yeah, so I was born and raised in Henrietta. We live there now. I love living in Henrietta in Monroe County. I was a teen mom. I was a single mom. I worked my way through college. I have been an attorney for 20 years, and I handle mostly divorce and family law cases. I have represented thousands of mothers, fathers, grandparents, custodians, and children. I love what I do, but I've realized that there's only so much I can do as an attorney. The real change comes from the judge. And if we don't have judges who understand, who have compassion, who want to make a difference in people's lives, we're really doing families a disservice. And so that is one of the reasons that I decided to run. Excuse me.
Little cough there. So 2 years you've been running. I remember the day that you decided to make that you made this decision. I remember we were sitting on our couch, and you're like, "I think I'm going to run for family court," and you've been doing it. How has this experience been for you?
So this has been a very long process for me. It's something that I am very passionate about. 2 years is a long time to run for a position. I ran last year. I didn't win, and so I've just continued on this year. And it's something that is important, and that's why I have given up a lot between my family and, working. Everything that I've done is at this point to try to attain this position is so that I can make a difference in families and children. And so I am happy to be here, and I am hoping for success tomorrow.
Absolutely. So 2 years, you must have ran into some interesting stories as you knocked on doors and attended events. I know we've been to a ton of, I lost count, the amount of events that went to.
We have hit consistently probably between 20 and 40 or 50 events a week for almost 2 years at this point. We've been going 7 days a week. I work full time in my law practice and campaign, and we are out every day, every weekend, just trying to help people to understand the importance of this position and why I am running for this position. And so it's something, again, that I am very passionate about and trying to make a difference.
Absolutely. So I remember us talking at one point about different types of organizations and resources that are just underused. Are you seeing that this second time around? I mean, has that increased? Are you seeing new resources? How is that working?
Absolutely. There are so many resources and programs that are available in Monroe County, and things that I have been able to take back to my clients as an attorney, and things that I am hopeful I can bring to the family court. I think if we can bring all of these programs and resources together and offer them to people who need them, we want to meet people where they are and bring these programs and services to the people who need them.
Chris, I just want to jump in here and ask you. So you went around, you've knocked on all these doors. You talked to all these people in various different things over 2 years now. What are the sentiments that you hear most often from the folks when you go talk to them? When you say, what can we do for you to make life better in Monroe County?
So I get a lot of people asking what the family court does and why it's important. And it really has been an education piece to me to try to explain to people. People will say, well, I've never been through the family court. Why should it be important to me? Well, the family court deals with families and children every single day. the decision that a family court judge makes is going to impact a family potentially for the rest of their life and potentially generations. And so I get oftentimes people who have not been through the system and don't understand what it is, and people who've been through the system who have not had a positive experience, and trying to help people that I know that I can't go into this position and change the entire system, but I think I can change what happens when people come in front of me. And that's really important to me to make a difference in everybody that comes through my court as a family court judge.
Absolutely. Chris, one quick question before we go to break. Do you think, or are you proud of the campaign you've ran over the last almost 2 years?
I am very proud of the campaign that we've ran for almost 2 years now. Very proud of that.
Ladies and gentlemen, you are listening to the Next Step Show with your conservative Nuyorican Peter Vazquez in studio. I have my beautiful bride, the Honorable Kristine Demo-Vazquez. Candidate should be your choice. Candidate for Monroe County Family Court Judge. We'll be right back on the WYSL stations.
Join the conversation at 585-346-3000, 585-346-3000. You've heard Peter on the weekends, now weekdays at noon on the WYSL stations. In the Rochester and Finger Lakes region, one name stands above all others for real estate appraisal and advice.
Ryan Murphy and Associates.
This full-service real estate appraisal company can appraise and advise on purchase and sales decisions, mortgage finance feasibility, estate, matrimonial, partnership buyouts, litigation, and more for any type of property, both residential and commercial. Ryan Murphy was founded almost 40 years ago. All of our highly trained staff members have at least 20 years of experience. All our appraisers are either New York State certified general or residential real estate appraisers.
Ryan Murphy and Associates.
Start here. RYNNEMurphy.com.
Youth for Christ Rochester, a youth development organization in downtown, is dedicated to changing city kids' lives through life and relational leadership coaching and finding their purpose and destiny in Christ. Now, in addition to our Friday night basketball and P31 Girls, the Fatherhood Initiative, Summer Camp, we've added YFC Arts Academy. To get connected or find out more, check out our Facebook page at Youth for Christ Rochester or go to yfcrochester.org/donate.
Hi, this is attorney Kristine Demo-Vazquez. For more than 18 years, I've provided quality legal services tailored to the unique needs of each of my clients. I take the time to educate my clients about the law, explain the legal process, listen carefully, answer questions, and keep my clients informed throughout the process.
An attorney who understands the complexities of the family court system. Call attorney Kristine Demo-Vazquez at 585-427-0675. 585-427-0675.
Peter Vazquez and Next Step Show on the WYSL stations.
Welcome back to the Next Step Show. Yep, it's me, Peter Vazquez, your Nuyorican conservative. And guess what? Mi esposa hasn't ran away yet. Are you still here, Chris? Wait a minute. I just saw Dash. How you doing,
I'm
honey?
still here.
You're here. You know, it's so odd interviewing my own wife sometimes, I have to admit. It's kind of like I'm asking these questions and I'm thinking in my head, I could probably answer all these along with you.
You probably could.
So listen, any major learning experiences that you had, any learning points, like you're going along and you just had an aha moment where it was like, wow, I never realized that was important or that mattered or that I should look at it from this perspective?
So I think one thing is being trauma-informed. It's something that I've done a lot of research on, something that I have just tried to learn more about. And I think that it's so important that we have judges that are trauma-informed in order to make an effective change in the family court.
Can you describe what a trauma-informed judge looks like? I mean, you'd assume that was like common sense, but it isn't.
Yeah, so a trauma-informed judge basically means that you understand that people have dealt with different traumas in their life, that trauma affects people in very different ways, and making sure to not continue to traumatize or re-victimize people throughout the process.
Absolutely. Now, as a lawyer, I've seen you in action. And you've dealt with a lot of that. I mean, I've seen you go to people's houses in some areas that I cringe, and I've asked you why. And I remember you saying to me once, well, Peter, how am I supposed to help my clients if I can't see and feel, and not just listen, but see and feel what they're going through so that I can understand it and apply it?
Well, I think it's really important to, again, meet people where they are. There's nothing more important than understanding where people are coming from, why they are where they are, and figuring out how we can make a difference in their life. Otherwise, what's the point in doing this? We're just going through the motions. We're looking at, we need to look at everything so that we can make effective changes.
Absolutely, absolutely. Hey, going back in the family side of stuff, I've watched our kids just jumping hoops over the last 2 years with us nonstop. Our daughter Alyssa, God bless her, she's out there right now, still, just pumping along. The volunteers that have come around you, just everything. Anything particular you'd want to share with those people that are out there that are advocating for you? Anything you want to share with them on air?
Well, I hope that people see my passion and heart for wanting to make a difference in people's lives.
Which is why I believe so many people rally behind you, because they can. You could feel it.
Yeah, I am so thankful for everyone who has stuck by me, who has worked with me, who has jumped in this last year to try to help me. My family has been incredible. I kind of take for granted the fact that I'm working all of these hours and, to try to get this position, but you are as well. So all of the behind the scenes work that you do on top of the things that you have going on has been incredible. And, the kids who are out campaigning, my daughter has attended so many events and activities on my behalf and with me, and still doing today. She's out doing door to door to make that last push. My friend Allison, who has been for 40 Saturdays on top of the 3 or 4 days a week that she's gone out with me. I mean, it has really been a family affair. And not to mention my mother, who has been making calls for a week now. And, she's getting such a positive response back, just to show that this is a family affair. But the volunteers are really, it's been incredible. And I am so grateful for each and every one of them who has stepped up and who has continued on. I could not have done this and could not have got to this point without the volunteers and friends that have stuck with me.
Absolutely.
And it's hard because it's 2 years. People get burned out. People, find that they, have their lives and other things going on, but they've continued on, and it's a true blessing.
So this family effort, this push, now 2 election cycles in a row, 1 year after another, that speaks to a great sense of community, does it not? And kind of reflects what, our Monroe County folks are all about.
Yeah, there's nothing more important than family and community. And so it really does. They have stuck with me, and I cannot emphasize that enough, that I would not have been able to do this, would not have been able to continue this without their support.
Talk a little bit about one of the things that we hear about is the workload that judges have. The caseload is extremely burdensome. Is that the case in family court as well?
Yeah, absolutely. I think that there's a significant caseload. I know that as an attorney, I have a significant caseload from representing private paid clients and under the assigned counsel program, the attorney for the child program, the pro bono attorney program. So, some things that I've learned that as an attorney, the delay that is created at times for many different reasons causes families undue stress and trauma. And so, in looking at what I've observed for 20 years, things like we need to make sure that we're on time, that we're prepared, that we are listening to everybody that is coming into the family court, and then making decisions based on the facts and circumstances of each case. But I think that there's things we can do, like consecutive trial dates. I think I may have mentioned once before, I had a trial that lasted more than almost 3 years to get through this trial. And so for all of that time, this family is in a state of limbo, no closure, not knowing what's going to happen.
So what would happen there? You'd have a court date, and then it would be continued like 3 weeks later or something like that?
Yeah, so we would have a court date. There was COVID mixed in there, so obviously, there were different reasons for that, but that's not uncommon where you have a trial that's going on for a year, 2 years. But yeah, that's what happens.
So what happens to the families during that time? I mean, there's a child that's getting older who's waiting. I mean, you got mom and her dad who's sitting there wanting to see it. They talk about establishing relationships. But if we're stagnant, for what happens? I mean, is there anything in between that fosters that relationship through the courts?
Well, it depends. So there's lots of things that can happen. There's motions that are going to be filed in between. There's other things that are going to be brought up or that are going to be raised. And, in most cases, or in some cases, there's going to be visitation or there's going to be some type of parenting schedule, but there's not going to be any closure. So nobody knows what the end result is going to be and the impact that has on. In this particular case, I had represented a father who was, trying to get custody of his child. And so, all of that time, the stress of going through a trial is tremendous. And to have that continue on for such a long amount of time is just unbearable.
Okay, so back when we first brought this subject up, you said something about consecutive court dates. Can you explain what that...
So what some judges will do is they'll schedule a trial date for, say, a Monday and continue that trial date until the trial completes. And again, I don't know the scheduling issues in the family court and how we're going to do that, but that's something that's very important to me, something that I'm very cognizant of and trying to alleviate that, at least one stressor that people are dealing with and trying to get some closure.
Okay, so you're going to push for this consecutive trial date. I'll try to move these things along a little bit.
Right, absolutely.
Can you just fill us in a little bit on the structure of family court? A lot of people don't know. I mean, the vast majority of people in the community don't have any contact with family court, but they're still going to be voting for y'all. So tell us what the structure of the court is, the number of judges, and how that works.
Yeah, so the family court deals with issues of custody, visitation, child support, paternity, abuse and neglect, adoptions, abuse and neglect, and juvenile delinquency cases. And so there's a wide range of cases that the family court is addressing. I believe that there's 6 family court judges right now. There are also a couple of referees that are basically the equivalent of judges. They have the ability to make decisions on these cases.
Wait, they examine witnesses and take testimony, and they conduct trials?
Yeah, so they have the same authority. So what happens is when you go in front of a referee, the parties and the attorneys have to sign a stipulation consenting to the referee making decisions, hearing the case and making decisions.
Are they non-lawyers?
No, all judges and referees in the family court are going to be lawyers.
Okay, they have law degrees and they've passed the bar and so forth.
Yes.
Okay.
So it's only some town courts where people can be non-lawyers and be elected as a judge.
Right. Yeah, those are, what do they call them, hearing examiners? I know in some places they used to call them that, like with the FCC, except now I think they just call them administrative law judges. Huh.
Yeah. So even the support magistrates that hear support cases are going to be lawyers.
Okay. Peter, back to you. It's your show here.
Oh, no, listen, those are great questions. I'm glad you asked those questions. I guess I was being too nice. I'm going to bring out the gavel here.
Oh, good thing we're going to break soon.
No, you were talking about being trauma-informed, and I have to assume that all those delays just increases and adds to the trauma that family is dealing with.
Absolutely. That's another level of the trauma that they're dealing with. And again, the goal is to not re-traumatize and continue to victimize people who are going through this very challenging system.
Now, you mentioned that in your discussion with Bob, when you were asking where this is something you can advocate for, but it's my understanding that in your courtroom, you would have the opportunity to possibly implement some of these things that you'd like to see changed.
Yeah, I mean, that's my goal. Is I have a lot of ideas, a lot of thoughts, and my goal is to bring those to the family court. And I can't guarantee what's going to happen in the whole system, but I think I can make the changes for people that are coming before me in the court.
And we do what we can within the reach that we can. Ladies and gentlemen, this is the Next Step Show. Hey, give us a call, 346-3000, but we'll be right back after these short messages.
Peter Vasquez and Next Step Show on the WYSL station.
Oh, yeah. You've enjoyed them on the weekends, and now every weekday at noon, it's Next Steps with Peter Vasquez.
Yeah, it's me, your conservative Nuyorican. Sí, el señor Peter Vasquez, born and raised right here in Rochester, New York. And today, my guest on this wonderful show at this wonderful little cabin out in the woods, which I've come to adore. Right? We call this home. But in studio today, I've got my bride who's talking to me. Hi, bride.
Hello.
If you could see her eyes kind of rolling when I do that. But
Yes,
you know what, though? They say that behind every guy, there's a strong woman. And I can tell you that behind this guy, there is a woman that is not just strong. She is a pillar. And if you don't believe me, just go to her website or go to, which is KristineForFamilyCourt.com. Check out her social media. You know, even our kids posted a video. And the cool thing is this. We're a blended family. We have 5 kids. I was a single dad. She was a single mom. One day we met, and poof, we had an instant family. Just like that. We had 3 mother-in-laws living with us. So when we say, or when my kids say in their video, that Mrs. Demo-Vazquez, my angel, was the pillar, she was the strength, that is 100% true, ladies and gentlemen. She has taught me more about family than anyone can ever imagine. I would say that my daddy would be proud that I married you if he was here today. He'd be like, about time, knucklehead. But he'd say it in Spanish, like, cabeciduro, por fin conseguiste a tu ángel. That's what he would say.
You make it sound like we're the Brady Bunch.
Are we
and I
not?
guess we kind of are.
Well, maybe they had 8 kids, so we're short 3
True.
in the house.
Well, we had 3 mothers with us, so it kind of
That makes it the Brady Bunch.
was
Yeah,
almost
I just
like
want to.
kids.
I'm glad you brought that up. I wasn't sure whether it was appropriate, but now that you've brought it up, you've brought it up. Ladies and gentlemen, just if you're looking for character, all right, and who wouldn't be in the selection of a candidate for family court judge, how about somebody who lives with 1, 2, count them, 3 mothers-in-law under the same roof with a blended family?
Yep. And we didn't pay for somebody to come in and care for any of them. Well, my mother got a little extra help that she already had. But other than that, yes, it was us.
It was a family affair, and I think my kids will be remembering for a long time the diapers that they changed and the care that they provided too. Again, everything that we do has always been a family affair, and taking care of my stepmother and my mother-in-law was no different. And my mother is still, she doesn't really need any care at this point, but she, is still someone that we take care of, we help, and I wouldn't want it any other way. Although there were times between the 5 kids and the 3 mothers, and none of whom cooked, that I wanted to.
I asked one of the kids. I think it was maybe Brent or maybe Solomon. I don't remember. But I asked them, hey, when I'm older and I need some extra help, possibly a diaper change, can I count on you? They went in the other room and didn't answer me.
Yeah, I think I think that they've had enough of that. But they are amazing kids, and I think if it ever came down to that they would certainly do what they needed to do.
I cannot be more prouder of these kids. All of them. Every single one of them. Even though they can be a knucklehead, I love them beyond anything, and I'm proud. Ladies and gentlemen, 346-3000. We'd love to hear from you. Kristine's running for Monroe County Family Court Judge. That's KristineForFamilyCourt.com. You got a question, please feel free to give us a call. You got a comment, please feel free to give us a call. That's 346-3000. Chris, we've been talking a lot about trauma, and I'll tell you, that is one of the most exciting things for me. I mean, I've had my own issues. I've had my own bouts with the family court, and yes, I said bout because that's what it felt like, especially as a guy. Now, sometimes I think that we have this misconception in the family court or in society that single fathers just doesn't seem to equate to a single mother. I don't know where that misconception came from, but I can tell you, being a single father myself, I wished that I had met an attorney like you during that time. So your website, right, not only says that you will be and are a trauma-informed attorney, you will be a trauma-informed judge, and everything that has to do with that. You will show respect and have respect in your courtroom. But your website also says that you're a judge with a commitment, or to be a commitment, you will be a judge, to clarify, I said that wrong, to the family's well-being, aiming for decisions that support healing and the child's best interest. I'm taking this right off of your website. But yet, there still seems to be that perception and a bias towards men, where mothers are the ones that should have the custody. Mothers are the ones that are right. Is that true? And how would you address in dispelling that misconception in your courtroom?
So I think that there's been a significant shift in the family court over my last 20 years. You know, there used to be a presumption that a dad or a non-custodial parent would have visitation with the child every other weekend and a couple dinner visits a week. And that's really transitioned to more of the courts looking to a 50-50 split if it's appropriate. The standard is always going to be what's in the child's best interest. And so I believe that, you know, I was a single mom, you were a single dad, and each parent brings a different perception to the child's life and can enhance the child's life. So I think that there's value in both parents. I don't think that one parent is superior over the other parent. And I think that that's something that we need to look at, is the value that parents can offer children. And it's not about being a mother, being a father. It's about what's in the child's best interest and how can we figure that out.
And I think that goes right to your putting families first hashtag.
Yes, we are always going to look at what's in the child's best interest. And I want to know, you know, everything that this family is dealing with and how we can make it better for the child. So
tell me, while in the family court, you're adjudicating a case, and here goes mom, here goes dad, and then child's in the middle. Does the family court, even though you're there's a petition, I'm assuming, that has to do with the child specifically in most cases, correct?
So, yes, one parent or a custodian, grandparent is going to file a petition, and that's what brings the case to court.
Now, can a judge in the family court look at the entire family and say, okay, we're dealing with this petition that was filed by so-and-so in regards to this child, but the solution that we're going to work on here is going to encompass healing for the entire family, and we're going to work it focused on the child, kind of bringing mom and dad into that healing process versus just sending a child to counseling kind of stuff.
Yeah, so sometimes what happens when there's a child that doesn't want to have a relationship with the other parent, and oftentimes the courts are going to do what's called therapeutic visitation. And we're going to try to figure out why the child doesn't want to have access and what can we do to fix that. And so referring families out for a therapeutic visitation or doing some type of family therapy is one means to figure that out and try to work towards resolution. We always want to try to bring families together if that's at all possible. And there may be other reasons why that can't happen. But for the most part, trying to reunify a child with a parent is a significant goal.
Does the family court have winners and losers?
In my professional opinion is that there aren't winners and losers. We're dealing with families and children, and the decisions that a judge makes, there may be someone who is successful in that particular case, but that doesn't necessarily mean that the parties are winners or losers. And so anytime I'm dealing with clients who are going through the family court system, I try to talk about what are the risks, what are the challenges, and how can we get to a resolution without a judge having to make that decision? Because once it gets to a judge, they're going to hear very limited facts and circumstances about your case, and they're going to make a decision that is going to impact that family for the rest of their life. And so we want to look at, is there anything that we can do so that the parents and the child are going to have control over that outcome? Sometimes it works out that way, and other times it doesn't. And we have to go to trial, and that's where the judge comes in, and the judge has to decide what's in that child's best interest.
I'm curious. I know some other courts, like small claims, for example, nothing to do with family court. But when you file small claims, one of the things that they try to do first is send the participants, I guess, the people filing the claim, to a mediation type of solution. Is that something that the family court does or tries to do in some cases? Because if I remember correctly, you've always taught me that every single case you deal with, you have to ensure that you, even as an attorney, that you're analyzing it not only in the best case of your client or the child, if the child, your client, but it also has to be based on the facts and circumstances of each case and within the law that's provided, right?
So there's different standards, right? So when I'm representing a mother, father, grandparent, custodian, my job as an attorney or a child is to advocate for their wishes. So even a child who is a young child, if they have a position on a case, my job is to advocate for their wishes. And so sometimes people don't understand that standard, but that's what we're obligated to do. There is a mediation program that parties can be referred to. And if they're both willing to do that, I always think that that's a great alternative. Again, having control over that outcome is so important, if that's at all possible.
Hey, real quick, in very short words, why are you the best choice for this position, if you can do it in just a couple words?
Well, I don't have a couple words for that. I think that there's a lot of reasons why, and I think maybe we can save that for after the break.
I tried getting you there. Anyways, it's Peter Vasquez. You're listening to The Next Step Show. Ladies and gentlemen, give us a call when we come back. 346-3000. We have the Honorable Kristine Demo-Vazquez, candidate for Monroe County Family Court. And of course, I could never, ever, ever go the show without saying I am honored to have the voice of liberty right here along with me.
Put your arms around me, baby. Put your arms around me, baby.
In the Rochester and Finger Lakes region, one name stands above all others for real estate appraisal and advice.
Ryan Murphy and Associates.
This full-service real estate appraisal company can appraise and advise on purchase and sales decisions, mortgage finance feasibility, estate, matrimonial, partnership buyouts, litigation, and more for any type of property, both residential and commercial. Ryan Murphy was founded almost 40 years ago. All of our highly trained staff members have at least 20 years of experience. All our appraisers are either New York State certified general or residential real estate appraisers.
Ryan Murphy and Associates.
Start here. RYNNEMurphy.com.
Hi, this is attorney Kristine Demo-Vazquez. For more than 18 years, I've provided quality legal services tailored to the unique needs of each of my clients. I take the time to educate my clients about the law, explain the legal process, listen carefully, answer questions, and keep my clients informed throughout the process.
An attorney who understands the complexities of the family court system. Call attorney Kristine Demo-Vazquez at 585-427-0675. 585-427-0675.
Next Steps with Peter Vasquez on the WYSL stations.
Here's the story of a lovely lady who was bringing up three very lovely girls.
The Next Step Show is brought to you by Ryan Murphy and Associates Commercial and Residential Real Estate and Consulting and the law offices of Kristine Demo-Vazquez.
All right, welcome back to the Next Step Show. Here we are still. Kristine, you haven't ran away. Well, it has been 20 years.
Yeah, not yet.
All right,
not
so
yet.
Before break, I asked you, I tried putting you in the spot, but boy, you spun that good.
Well,
you sure you don't want to run for Congress? No, just kidding.
Definitely not. The family court is my jam, and that's where I want to be.
So best choice. Why are you the best choice?
So I think that there's lots of reasons for that. So my personal and professional history, I think, speaks for itself. Being a teen mom, being a single mom, being a stepmom, being a caregiver for 3 moms, an attorney for 20 years, representing thousands of moms, dads, kids, grandparents, custodians. All of those things really lend to my experience in how I can help people. So this is something that I've looked at for a long time and looked at, can I make a difference? I would not have spent the last 2 years of my life if I was not passionate about helping families and children, and if I did not think that I could make a positive impact in their life. And that is my sole goal in doing this.
Excellent. And because every decision, everything you do in the courtroom or even as an attorney, right, is always based on the facts and circumstances and the law, correct?
Correct.
There's no political influence. There's none of that stuff. It just doesn't matter. Simply the best interest of the child. Would you agree with that statement?
That is the court standard for determining residency, custody of a child. What's in the child's best interest?
Going back for just a minute here, Chris, to your experiences. Now, you mentioned regularly that you were a teen mom and a single mom, obviously. What did that provide you with any unique insights that you think are going to help you in family court?
Yeah, I think understanding what people have been through, having dealt with that myself. So there's so many struggles that comes along with that. So I'll, finding childcare, taking time off of work, taking care of a sick child,
supporting yourself.
Nothing has ever been handed to me. I have had to work for everything that I have in my life, and nothing, for whatever reason, is ever simple. Like kind of along the same lines as this campaign. Nothing has been simple. And so I understand what that means. I understand those struggles and what you need to do to make things happen.
I just think about that situation, from time to time. I don't know what sparks it, but you think about a young woman who's in that situation. You're in high school. You're in junior high school. You've got a baby. Boy, the doors of opportunity, I just hear them slamming shut. Mm-hmm. And it amazes me that people survive that, much less thrive like you did.
Yeah, the number of people who told me that even in high school, who told me, I'll never be a lawyer. I knew in high school that I wanted to be a lawyer, that I was not smart enough, or that I didn't have enough money, or that I wouldn't be able to do that. Even going then through college, looking back, I had so many people, although I had lots of positive influences, but I really had a lot of people who told me that I couldn't do things. And for me, that gave me the motivation to want to do it. And it also gave me the motivation to try to encourage other young people. If you have a passion or desire to want to do something, it's not going to be easy, but you can do it. And I really want to encourage people who are in that same position that you can do it. Find someone who believes in you. Find someone that will mentor you. And you have to just push forward and not listen to the noise, because a lot of people are going to talk to you, and you don't need to listen to what they have to say about your life and your ability to accomplish what you want to accomplish.
I've got to believe that as a family court judge, you're going to look on many occasions out over that courtroom, and you're going to encounter all kinds of young women who basically you're going to see you of several years ago.
Yeah, absolutely. And I already have, as an attorney, I've seen those, cases where I'm trying to help people and trying to make a difference in their life. And, that is something that is important to me, to understand all of those things that people have faced and that people have gone through.
Yeah, absolutely. I was this, but I too was a single dad, or a teen dad. And I was told a lot of the same things. I mean, it was almost like you had a baby, you'll never see something different. Chris and I don't have any kids together. We raised a blended family that no one really knew it was a blended family.
So you had to hit puree on that blender to really make it blend, right? I mean,
pretty much.
A lot of blending going on there.
So Silas and Alyssa would tell people their age, because they're 2 weeks apart. Alyssa's 2 weeks younger than my son. and people would say, "Why, you guys are twins?" But they look nothing alike. I mean, not even the same skin tone. Alyssa's. I think you've met Alyssa, or maybe not. I don't know. Blue eyes.
I met one of them.
It's funny.
Met one of them. So we've
funny.
talked so serious over the last hour, but I've learned a lot. Well, a lot of what I already knew.
I suspect you knew a lot of that, but I
How about
think
some
it's
fun
important.
questions, Kristine?
Let's do it.
Let's do it. All right. First question. If you were a type of sandwich, what type of sandwich would you be?
God.
Okay, that's a really weird question. I'm just going to say, what is my favorite type of sandwich? And that would be peanut butter and jelly or peanut butter and banana. And I'm just going to leave it at that.
I like peanut butter and banana. I'd eat you if you were a sandwich that was peanut butter and
love
banana.
Peanut butter and banana.
All right, another rolling question. Another funny one question. I had to ask that one, sorry. What's the most rebellious thing that you did as a teenager?
Oh, boy, that's an interesting question. I was a pretty non-rebellious teenager, but I do remember that I would... Yeah, we'll have to ask my mom. I do remember that I would sneak out of my house, but I would tell my mom that I was sneaking out of the house. So it wasn't really sneaking out. So I would go over to my friend's house who their parents were very strict, very different from my mother, who was very kind of a laid-back parent, and, go hang out. But I had a really good relationship with my mom, and she pretty much knew everything that what I was doing. And yeah.
Well, I do remember, Bob, her friends and her mom saying that when they would come and try to get her to go out with them on a Friday night or hang out, she would always have to do her homework first.
Well, that was a rule in my house, too.
Yeah.
So rebellious probably wasn't the good word, huh? I should have said,
Yeah,
what?
I don't know that I was really a rebellious.
So my follow-up was to that question would have been, how would you or the judge you react to it today? But I have to assume that the judge you would say, good job, Kristine.
Yeah, I think, it could have been, my mom was a single mom, and so it could have been a lot different. I had a lot of friends who struggled even at a young age with drugs and alcohol, and that was just never something that I was involved in or experimented with. And so I'm grateful that, I had that, whatever it is in me that caused me to not do that. I'm really grateful for that. But I do also understand those struggles that people, once you've tried that or once you've been involved in that, the struggles that they've had in dealing with addiction, whether it's drugs or whether it's alcohol.
Well, I can tell you, if I was your mother's son, she'd probably have less hair today.
Probably.
So these aren't very funny or fun questions. I'm going to have to work on that.
Who wrote these?
I mean, I thought.
What's next? The Bill Clinton question: boxers or briefs?
No, it's another. I thought it was funny, but as we're learning, my funny is not the same as others, I guess.
No.
But the last Peter funny type of question is: if you hosted a dinner party with any two people dead or alive, who would they be, and what would be on the menu?
Well, I would have to say my dad and my grandma. I know that's kind of probably a boring answer, but my dad died about 12 years ago, and my grandma probably about 20 years ago. But they were very, very influential in my life, and I would just love the opportunity to talk to them again and to spend time with them. And the only thing that I am good at cooking, and I don't know that my kids would agree with this, but is lasagna.
Oh, they would.
And my dad always loved my lasagna, and we used to make Rice Krispie treats and lasagna on our own little Thanksgiving every year.
Wow. And I'll tell you, ladies and gentlemen, she hooked me with that lasagna. Anywho, what's your website?
KristineForFamilyCourt.com.
Thank you so much for coming on today, Kristine. I truly appreciate it when you do. I know it's kind of odd. Anyways, neither here nor there. Ladies and gentlemen, this is the Next Step Show. I hope to hear from you on future shows. But hey, be a leader. Share with us. Advertise with us. Just call the station, 346-3000. Ask for Bob. Someone's going to answer. NextStepShow.com. Que tengan una semana bendecida. Until tomorrow at noon and every other noon thereafter. And never forget, hey, te amamos.
No soy niño en